Predatory banking lives on. 3 years ago, I did not know this, but state lawmakers in New Jersey, 3 years ago, New Jersey has a problem with people who don't have access to banks. And if you don't have access to a bank, life can get very, very difficult. And what the FDIC found was that an estimated 5.9 million people in America have no bank and no credit union account, no access to banking. 18.7 million households, in addition to that 5.9 million, are underbanked, meaning that they have a bank, but they also use non-bank financial services like payday lenders. Now, this breaks out racially at 2.1% of white households are unbanked, have no bank. But it's 9.3% of Hispanics and 11.3% of black households. 24% of black households, 20.7% and 24.1% of Hispanic households are underbanked. In other words, using payday lenders and things like that, pawn shops as banks, compared to 9.3% of white households. So where we go with this is that 3 years ago, the New Jersey legislature created a commission to study this issue. It was signed by Phil Murphy on January 13th, 2020. Now, apparently what happened is the pandemic got in the way. I mean, you know, this was the end of January. Well, it was early January, January 13th, but we were already starting to hear about COVID. And, you know, the lockdowns came just 3 months later in March. So, but it has been now 3 years, and there have been no steps taken to move this commission forward. This is something that I think, frankly, every state in the union should be looking at, and I'd like to see the federal government looking at. The fact that, you know, we have these people who are unbanked or underbanked, and it's hurting people. I also think, and this is an op-ed that I've been meaning to write for some time, that it's time for every state in the union to create a state bank and give these for-profit banksters some competition. The problem that we have with banking constantly failing in the United States is that the for-profit banksters are taking all kinds of chances in order to jack up the profits of their banks so that they themselves personally can take more money out, can make more in commissions and salaries and bonuses and have their stock go up in price so that they make money that way too, along with dividends. But state banks don't have any of that. And there's only one state in the union, North Dakota, that has a state bank, and it was started to help farmers because back in the 19-teens when farmers couldn't get loans from real banks, from for-profit banks, it was a crisis, and so the state started a bank. Now, there was legislation in California to do this. I don't know the fate of it, frankly. I have to look into it. But I think this is a big deal.